Chaos ensues and has left the NFL fandom in entire shambles as to what the hell happened this weekend. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Everyday NFL Fan Podcast. Week 1 is in the books. It was a very completely normal
That's about
week.
all you can say.
No drama in the NFL whatsoever. Everything went exactly according to plan. Everybody followed the script because the NFL is all scripted. It's fine. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
Anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm here, of course, with my co-host Austin Wiggers, as always. Say what's up, buddy. Welcome back. Oh boy, we got a lot to get into because this was a heck of a way to start out. And we got games to talk about. We got overreactions we can talk about, hot takes that I was right on, that you were right on, that the community was right on. We got a lot to get into. I'm not going to waste any more of your guys' time. Like and subscribe down below as always. Let's go ahead and get straight into this. And we're going to start here. We're going to start with this right here. Thursday night football game. Bills, Rams. You guys can see what we got going on here. Bills won. Bills won at LA. Absolutely destroying the LA Rams. There's not a lot to say about this game. It's the first game of the season. So before anybody overreacts about everything that's been going on, guys, the Rams will be fine. Okay. They got to get some stuff worked out. Got to kind of get the O-line in sync. Defense has to get some work in, but they'll be fine. We've still got Stafford, still got Kupp. You got a dual threat running backfield. Allen Robinson will get there eventually. Also, if you're a fantasy owner, you have Cam Akers again. Don't worry, you will be fine. He will do stuff eventually. But if you are a Bills fan, you have basically already locked up the AFC Championship. That's about guaranteed. And this, along with everything else that we had this week, basically proves the Bills are the best team in the league, and they looked like it on Thursday. We'll get into stat lines in a little bit. Austin, any thoughts on this one?
Well, I was surprised that it was that big of a margin. I think we both predicted the Rams to win, so we're both wrong on that one. I was just very surprised. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, got absolutely torched like 15 times.
Yep.
Stephon Diggs just bent him over and said, "Call me daddy." That's the way it was.
Yep.
But
absolutely.
Stafford played pretty well. Josh Allen was absolutely killing it. Both teams, though, especially in the first half, it was nothing but turnovers. Watching the game, it was interception left and right.
And that is the story of this entire week, which I'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah, it was. It was a mess to start out, but Buffalo figured it out. And you see there they ended up getting 31 points. As the away team. The one thing that surprised me, though, is actually something I saw on social media that was saying that the Rams actually had to go to like a silent snap count in their own home stadium.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The defending champs to come to play their first game at home against a really good opponent and have to use a silent snap count and then get blown out by 21 points. I have no words other than. And that was
something. That was something that people were commenting on a lot last year when the Rams played the 49ers in week 17 or whatever it was, that it was very much a 49ers dominant fan base in that stadium. And that's something that I'm wondering if it's going to affect the Rams going throughout the year, is that they can't bring their own fans into the seats. And even if they are, maybe it's just other fan bases are buying up all the tickets. I don't know. But the Bills Mafia travels well, so I'm not too surprised about that. But to have such a big, new, nice stadium and yet have the Rams still having to go to a silent snap count, like you said, really, really raising some questions about, can they bring their own fans in to the stadium to drown out that noise, or just even, be quiet when they're on offense. So that'll be something interesting to look at going forward. I will say about Matt Stafford, though, and this is going to sound weird, but you and I will get this one, had a very Andrew Luck-esque game in the sense of he had no time, but did what he could with having a terrible offensive line that game. So respect to him for that. But even still, he didn't look the best out there. Again, it's game 1. He's coming off of a shoulder injury. I'm not too freaked out yet about how he's going to look. Cooper Kupp continued doing Cooper Kupp things. 13 receptions, 128 yards, and a touchdown. Triple Crown winner. He's fine. Cooper Kupp's one of the best receivers in the league. He's not the best. I'm going to say that right now. He's not the best. And we're going to get to who we think is the best a little bit later on in this podcast. Diggs, 8 receptions, 122 yards and a touchdown. Also looked great. Josh Allen accounting for 4 touchdowns in this game. Give Josh Allen the MVP. There's a couple other people we'll talk about who I think could be in the running for it, but Josh Allen, the clear favorite, 26 of 31, 297, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. If he can kind of work out throwing interceptions, we'll be fine. But that can also be said for any quarterback this week or any team this week, especially one also Super Bowl quarterback from last year who needs to get his shit together. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well.
Yes.
But that being said, I don't have a lot else to say about this game. Bills are going to the AFC Championship, and we already know who's going to be playing them because that much is obvious from what we saw, but we'll get into that later on as well. Any other thoughts from you on this one before we move on?
Nope, I think that's about it.
I will say, I don't know if you saw there were about five turnovers in that game, maybe 6. That was the story of the week total. So including Broncos Seahawks from last night, there were 49 total turnovers this week in the NFL. 49. Yep. Let me pull up my turnover count real quick. I have it on my phone. Just so we can get into talk about the games that had the most turnovers. So yeah, Bills Rams had the most turnovers. They had 7 turnovers in this game. 7. There were 7 turnovers in the Bills Rams game. That's a little bit insane. Moving on to Sunday, and boy, we got a doozy to talk about here. Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. Okay. The AFC South might still be the worst worst division in the NFL. There was not a single win in this division, and the 2 teams played themselves. They played each other in this game. Now, 2 things I want to say. Number 1, if the Colts don't get any more wide receivers this year, we're not going to do well. That's just straight up how it is. The Colts do not have enough good receivers to play well on offense. Defense, we're fine. Defense, we're great. I have no issues with our defense. We looked fine the entirety of the game. Texans, for example, looked better than I thought, but they surrendered the game. Fourth and 1, and you punted from midfield with 30 seconds left. What are you doing? You surrendered, took the tie, and decided to move on. It's better than a loss. No, go for the win. Put it at midfield. The Colts, you have to stop the Colts from gaining at least 10 yards for a field goal. Field goal kicking was not a thing this Sunday. No one could make a field goal this Sunday. I'm not too concerned about the Colts doing that. Probably would have been a tie anyway. I don't know what you guys are worried about. Play for the win. Whatever. Play aggressive. You got to. That's neither here nor there. Matt Ryan looked pretty good, I will say, for what he had to deal with. 32 of 50, 352 yards and a touchdown. I don't like that he had to have 50 pass attempts. That scares me a bit because that means he has no receiving whatsoever. Because the less passes you attempt, that means you're either getting more yards or you're just not doing anything at all. Second off, Jonathan Taylor. Here's what I'll say about Jonathan Taylor.
31 carries.
31 carries. The Colts offense is an absolute shambles right now. And yes, we had to rely on Jonathan Taylor a lot, but think about this, right? Taylor had 31 carries and Ryan had 50 passes. What are we doing out here, guys? I'm a Colts fan, okay? And I can tell you that this Colts team right now, if it plays like this, is not getting more than 7 wins with how they're playing right now. Absolutely no way they're doing that. Our second highest receiver was Naheem Hines, our backup running back. This is our backup running back. Pittman looked great. Alec Pierce, our rookie, didn't use him at all. Nothing.
Didn't even get any targets.
Nothing. Jonathan Taylor had 35 total touches of the ball, 4 receptions, 31 carries. Guys, we got to figure out what we're doing here. This is just not okay. Colts got to get this thing together. As for the Texans, Davis Mills looked great. I don't know what you want me to say. Davis Mills looked great. 37 attempts, 23 completions, 242 touchdowns. Not much else I can say there. He looked good. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I was very surprised at how well the Texans actually played. If you had talked to me before the game or even before the season started, I thought this was a deadlock for the Colts to win. I knew, though, that for the Colts to win, it was going to be like a defensive battle, defensive game.
Yeah.
If let's just say that by some miracle the Colts get to the Super Bowl this year,
Yeah.
it's not going to be through their offense.
No,
unless they just start adding power. But I could have told you that even before the season started. If you would have said, hey, how are the Colts getting to Super Bowl? I would have said defense.
Yep.
Defense wins championships. I would have said every game they would have played would have either been a low scoring game where they happen to come out on top, maybe 3, maybe 7 points.
Yep.
Or it's a super high scoring game and the defense just at the very end makes a stop and for somehow, the offense is just on point.
Yeah.
But I knew that it was not going to be a lot of these games are not going to be super high scoring when it comes to the Colts because their defense is going to be the team or supposed to be the team that's stopping everybody because they have a really good defense. But yeah, I mean, I can't agree with you more. The Indianapolis receiving, I thought that when there was all the free agents, when the free agent market opened up, I thought that the Colts were going to try to go for maybe Chris Godwin. Yeah. Or maybe another wide receiver of some sort.
Devontae Adams.
There was talks that Debo was potentially going to be leaving from San Francisco. I thought maybe we could get him. I thought that they were going to try and go for at least another good wide receiver. And then I also thought that before they got Matt Ryan, I thought maybe they were going to try and go for, another quarterback, somebody else.
Yeah.
Now, I'll admit, for Matt Ryan, for his age and stuff, he's playing really well. 352 yards. He had 50 passing attempts, but he completed 32 for 352 yards, had a touchdown, 7 yards on his average for passing. I'm okay with that. I would prefer
very
his
solid,
attempts
absolutely.
to be lower, but I'll take that performance. He played well. But John, like you said, Jonathan, 31 carries. If you're having 31 carries, you better be having about 400 yards.
Yes.
Jonathan, they're being one of the best running backs in the league. It's the first game.
Yep.
But that's a lot. He only averaged 5.2 yards, which is pretty good. That's not awful by any means.
Yeah.
And then, just look at the receiving. Michael Pittman, 9 receptions, 121 yards. Then you had Hines, who had 6 receptions for 50. Ashton Doolin, Paris Campbell, Mike Strachan, Moelle Cox.
Yeah.
There was a decent spread, but it also was just it's not going to be a lot of 20s and 30s on the yardage. And we cannot be playing games like that.
No, definitely not.
Unless we start getting all of those guys with higher numbers, more receptions, and with more yards, like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, for all of them, then I'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
It won't make me necessarily happy because, rest assured, because I'd prefer to have receivers doing that.
Yeah.
But I would take that. I like the spread. I just don't like the fact that the players that are in the spread is not wide receivers. We didn't even utilize Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
He was a great wide receiver at Cincinnati. And yes, he's a rookie. Yes, he's unproven. But, you got to get him some receptions here. Come on.
Yeah. He had 2 targets, but I don't know if those were drops or if those were missed throws or not good throws or whatever. But regardless, again, credit to the Texans' run defense for stifling Jonathan Taylor enough to where it took him 31 carries to get to 161 yards and only 1 touchdown. But even then, Taylor's got to get to doing more. For somebody that was drafted number 1 overall in majority of fantasy drafts this year, and, fantasy means a whole lot, whatever. Fantasy doesn't really mean a lot in the real world. But a lot of people expected Taylor to be the best running back in the league this year, and right now he needs to do a little bit more to show it, in my opinion. Shout out, though, real quick, for the Texans, O.J. Howard, an older tight end, a veteran, getting 2 touchdowns, so good on him.
Yep, good for him.
See if that continues. Last thoughts from you?
The last I was going to say is I will say this once, and I'll say it again, and I'll scream it from the rooftops. NFL needs to change the overtime rules.
100%.
This is not soccer. I'm sick of teams tying.
Yeah.
I would much rather prefer to see an NFL game go into 8 overtimes and have a winner than play 1 overtime and it be tied.
I agree.
College overtime rules are the best possible rules you can have.
Which have changed, so they're not as good, but continue.
True. But when the NFL rules are just awful. Whoever gets the ball first, basically wins.
If they score a touchdown.
And if they score a touchdown. And if you don't, score, if maybe you both score a field goal or, however the rest of the game could go, you're going to tie.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just absolutely stupid. So I do not like that whatsoever. But I will also say, since the Colts technically did not lose, this is the first time, and I think it was 13 years that the Colts actually have not a loss on opening day.
On week one, yeah.
On week one.
Which tells you something, that the Colts do not start out well.
No.
And again, what I also will say is, while the Colts don't start out well, this is probably one of the worst starting performances that the Colts have had. One of the worst starting offenses the Colts have ever had, and we didn't even lose. So that should tell you something too. So
power to our defense.
Power to our defense. Absolutely. Our defense is looking better than it has in years and years and years. Next up, Raiders Chargers. I'm going to move straight into this one. This is a really entertaining game. I didn't see a whole lot of this one, but, I heard it was really good. Derek Carr, we'll start over here. 3 interceptions, not a great day for him, but, still 22 for 37, 2 touchdown passes. Totally not a huge deal. I'm not too concerned about Derek Carr. He's got some stuff to work out. Smarter decision-making with his throws. But, still only losing by 5 to the Chargers. Kept it really close. A lot of people thought this was going to be a really high-scoring game, and the Chargers were going to put up a lot of points. Didn't happen. Both of these defenses looked pretty good. And if you look at, Herbert's stats, 279, 3 touchdowns. Herbert had an amazing game. Justin Herbert doing Justin Herbert things. Looking awesome. Devontae Adams, big story going into the season was, would Devontae Adams fall off working with Derek Carr and not Aaron Rodgers? No. Devontae Adams, top 2 in the league, easily top 2 receiver in the league. Looked great here. Touchdown, 141 on 10 receptions. Devontae Adams is great. Devontae Adams is top 2 receiver in the league, bar none. Find me somebody that argues with that. I would kill them. No, not really. But I would challenge their logic on that one.
Yeah.
Chargers again. Chargers going to Chargers. They're going to do their thing. Again, here's what I will say. Chargers distributed the ball really well. Shout out to Xander Horvath. Had a touchdown. So good on him. Purdue alumni right there. Good on Xander Horvath for getting a touchdown. A lot of people on social media who's that Xander Horvath guy? Why didn't they use Keenan Allen more? It's I know who that is. I watched him in college. Yep. What a stud that Big man boy. Is. Mike Williams. Mike Williams played a little bit. Keenan Allen, none of the guys got a lot of receiving yards, but, very balanced offense. The Chargers looked good. And if this is how they looked the first game, and I don't think they looked great, this Chargers offense is going to be insane because, again, Herbert played almost a perfect game. And there's not a lot wrong I can say about this Chargers team. They looked great. So imagine what they're going to do against a really bad team. Because this is a Raiders team I still think is going to make the playoffs. So, we'll see what happens there. But, Austin Eckler, not a great game for him. Just wasn't utilized much, really, is all it is. 4 receptions for 36 yards and then 14 carries for 36 yards. He'll have good games, he'll have bad games. That's the nature of running backs. Any other thoughts from you?
I think it's surprising that the top 2 receivers for the Chargers had less yards combined than Devontae Adams did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they both had less yards individually than Darren Waller did. So
yeah. And in a way that's slightly expected just because it's Devontae Adams, but at the same time, you should expect that if you add 2 receivers together, that you should have more points than one receiver on the opposing team. But
one of those receivers being Keenan Allen.
Yeah. But as you said, they distributed it well, not a lot of yards. But for only having 4 receptions, 66 yards for Keenan Allen, that's not bad at all.
Oh no, absolutely not.
And so, I think, just imagine what he gets with more receptions. And, I think that, both quarterbacks, they played great. Devontae Adams only had 10 receptions, but he had 141 yards out of it and a touchdown.
Yeah.
I think both these teams are looking pretty good. Definitely not their best games, but Herbert played well and spread the ball around, and Devontae Adams played well. Derek Carr played pretty well. So I'm excited to see how these teams just continue on through their seasons.
Absolutely. Chargers, hot start there. Raiders, not the best start, but again, a lot of time left. Next up, the Falcons blew a double-digit lead. Who would have guessed that? And regardless of that, okay, the Falcons play better than anybody thought they would. A couple quick takeaways. I don't want to talk everybody's ear off here. Cordero Patterson looks insane. 120 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. He looked great. Mariota didn't do much of anything, but didn't look awful. He didn't play like the worst quarterback in the league. He was not the worst quarterback on the field, stat-wise, this week, by far. Beyond that, Jameis looked fine. Michael Thomas looks like he's going to be unstoppable, as we all wondered how he was going to look coming off of 2 years of not playing. But, I mean, he had 2 touchdowns. Can't say anything differently about him. Any thoughts from you?
Jarvis Landry, I mean, he showed out. 7 receptions, 114 yards. I mean,
yes,
that was great. And, Michael Thomas only had 5 receptions for 57 yards, but 2 touchdowns. Like, that's awesome. Chris Olave had 3 receptions for 41 yards. Like, they're distributing the ball around. They're doing a pretty good job of that. Rushing, Kamara 9 for 39. Taysom Hill was 4 for 81 with a touchdown and a long of 57.
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of interesting to see there. I thought Alvin Kamara would be a little bit better, but one game doesn't disqualify anybody.
Right.
Cordell Patterson, like you said, looks really, really good.
Yeah.
The Atlanta receiving is what kind of worries me a little bit here.
Yeah.
Drake London 5 receptions for 74 yards. Zacchaeus 4 for 49. I mean, Kyle Pitts was only 2 for 19.
Yeah.
Patterson 3 for 16. I mean, it just was not that impressive. I mean, yes, it's the first game, and yes, you have Marcus Mariota, as your quarterback, and there's no, huge names other than maybe like Cordell Patterson and Kyle Pitts on their team, but it just wasn't quite what you would expect to see, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think overall there wasn't a lot expected from the Falcons offense coming in. I think Drake London and Kyle Pitts will both be the 2 biggest receiving producers for the Falcons, but their production will depend a lot on how Mariota plays, and if he continues to develop, continues to look good, or even if he just plays average. Again, Mariota has to play well for those guys to do well. There's only so much they can do unless they have a quarterback getting them good passes. But yeah, again, Patterson looked great. Drake London is going to be good. He showed flashes of that this week. Kyle Pitts is going to be good. There's players that will stand out for the Falcons, but again, most of them are on offense, and it will depend a lot on how Mariota does for them. And then Jarvis Landry and Michael Thomas, that's going to be a nasty wide receiver duo if they can keep up this production going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to be a scary Saints offense if they can keep that up. They don't have a lot beyond that. It's going to be the Saints defense. But even then, the Saints defense wasn't always cracked up to be this week, or at least they didn't look at this game. A lot of people will look at week 1 and start to define the rest of the season. That's not how this works. And I'll make some points about that as we get into different games. But yeah, Saints come away with a win. Falcons choke, as they usually do. Cordell Patterson could be a top 5 fantasy running back, or top 5 running back in the league stat-wise if this keeps up by the end of the year. Yeah. A lot of good stuff from them. Moving forward here, past that game, another game. Okay, I got a lot to say about this game. First of all,
right ahead.
If you are a 49ers fan, don't panic. Okay, you have absolutely no reason to panic about this game for several reasons. Number one, this was probably, they were playing in Noah's flood this game. Okay, like there was so much rain here. The rain and a harsh weather condition almost always benefits the bad team, because the bad team is typically used to playing in those type of conditions. The Bears, for example, are used to playing in like really rainy or snowy conditions. And in those types of games, they typically either play well or play a lot closer to the team that they're facing. So honestly, with how things looked, I'm not super surprised. I'm surprised the Bears won. But looking at all of the factors we had in this game, and that literally nobody played well in this game, I'm not too surprised that, it was whichever worst team in these conditions played better, and the Bears just played a little bit better. Here's what I will say though. And again, Trey Lance did not look good in this game, but again, I attest a lot of these stat lines to the weather. I'm not going to really, this is one of those games where you can look at the record, look at whatever, and just be like, doesn't matter, rain, crappy conditions, move forward. That's all I really want to say about this game. Trey Lance didn't look good. If it's the weather and he plays well next game, fine. If it's not the weather, I don't know what to tell you, 49ers fans. I know they really just paid Jimmy G to be a backup. They did bring him back. Boy, you got to put him in if it starts going downhill quick. Debo looked fine as much as he could. Elijah Mitchell injury will hurt the 49ers. I don't know how long he'll be out. I need to look that up. Jawan Jennings looked fine. Ayuk looked fine. And then over on the Bears side, again, there's no stats to look at here. Nobody did great. It was a crappy game, crappy conditions. Congratulations, Bears fans. You got your win. You got your little week 1 win. Cool. Again, week 1 is the biggest liar in NFL. Okay? The Bears are not great. The 49ers are going to be fine. Let's move on. There isn't a lot to say here. Any thoughts from you, good sir?
Nope. That's the only thing I could say. I was shocked to see that the Bears won, but I mean, you could put a high school team out there and they would probably have beaten the Bears.
Yeah.
When you put anybody in those conditions, I mean, there's nothing else to say.
Also, a quick shout out to the St. Brown brothers for having touchdowns within 2 minutes of each other. Amon St. Brown in the Lions game and Equinemius St. Brown here. Shout out to those boys. They're going to be studs in the NFL. They already are. Let's move on to something that was a bit more of an entertaining game. Okay. I had so much fun watching this game. This was probably the most entertaining game of week 1. Okay. Here's what I want to say. Okay. Regardless of what you see on stats here. Okay. I watched every single second of this game on Red Zone because they were showing the majority of it. This isn't just going to be a kickers matter type of thing. Both of these teams have great kickers. This is a long snappers matter. Okay. Long snappers, holders, they could not get it together here. Okay. Bengals, you got to figure that out. Okay, you got Money Mac over here doing the best he can with what he's got. But if you give him a bad snap and a bad hold, he can only do so much. All right. Second off, Steelers offense still looks piss poor, as we all thought it would. Steelers defense is the best in the league, or at least second best. I'm going to say that right now. They are insane. Minka, how many interceptions did Minka have? How many interceptions did Minka have? I forget. Doesn't even say how many he had here. He had 1 touchdown. I think he had like 2-3 interceptions, something like that. Like Minka was insanely good. I want to see if I can find it real quick. Hold on.
Tackles.
Is it not same interception? What is that?
This game, 1 interception.
1 interception. Okay. Regardless, Minka looked great. This entire defense looked great. TJ Watt, I did see he's only going to be out like 6 weeks, I think. He won't need surgery for the pec, which is good. He'll only be out for 6 weeks. And yes, he's defensive player of the year. But this Steelers defense is good enough to not miss him significantly. They can still hold their own. The question will be, can their offense get things going? Trubisky didn't look awful. Trubisky didn't look poverty like we all thought he would. So that's a plus. Najee Harris being injured will also help hurt their offense a lot. Again, I don't know how long he's going to be out for this one. Bengals. Joe Shiesty. Okay, bud. 4 interceptions and a fumble. You had 5 turnovers this game, bud. What are we doing? Okay. The fact that you only lost this game by 3 points tells you how good the rest of your team is. No, it tells you how shitty the Steelers' offense is, for one thing. Like, that Steelers' offense is trash, the fact you stayed in this game. Jamar Chase going to do Jamar Chase things. 129 yards on 10 receptions, a touchdown. Great, that's fine. Burrow had 53 passing attempts. Why? Why are you throwing that many passes? Again, I get it. Steelers' defense is insane. Great. But you've got a really, really good – you've got a solid offense here. Your offensive line's better. You had more time in the pocket. But the fact that the Bengals, again, I'm going to keep praising the Steelers defense because they gave the O-line of the Bengals, gave Burrow all the time in the world that he needed. And he still turned over the ball 5 times himself. So I don't know what to tell you. Steelers defense is going to keep them competitive. I'm not convinced the Steelers aren't a contender in the AFC North to win. I'm not convinced now. I'm convinced they're a contender now. Again, week 1's the biggest liar, whatever. Steelers defense is awesome. Both the Bengals and the Rams have the Super Bowl curse. They can't play well week 1. They got to get it together. What about for you? What about you, sir?
Well, I mean, I watched a little bit of the game here and there, and the only thing that I've been seeing across social media when talking to my friends, and even as I watched it, was just Joe Burrow was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, I hadn't looked at any stats yet, so I'm surprised he actually had 338 yards.
Yes.
Like, I didn't think he had that many.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say, and again, like you said, week one is the biggest liar. But I mean, Pittsburgh, I think, in my opinion, I think they're kind of like the Colts in a way, where their offense is not going to get it done. It's going to be their defense.
Yep. And
I think the only way that they're going to be a contender is if their defense keeps stepping up.
Yes.
That's all I have to say for them. Yeah. Joe Burrow, just like you said, needs to get it together. I mean, he's a great quarterback. I mean, he's one of the top ones in the league. Just led his team to the Super Bowl, played great there. I mean, 338 yards is great, but 53 passing attempts and 4 interceptions and a fumble. I mean, that's not good. No. Especially when a lot of people thought the Bengals were going to take this game pretty handily.
Yeah.
And then you have Joe Mixon, who had 27 carries, only 82 yards. I mean, he's got to do a bit better. Yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a great defense.
Yeah.
But especially for the rest of the season, I mean, he's got to do better. He's got to keep working. Burrow's got to keep working. Jamar Chase did good. I mean, that's about all they had on their team at the moment. I mean, Mixon did all right on the receiving side.
Yeah.
Boyd did okay, but I mean, I don't. Again, it's only week one, but the fact that they only lost by 3, it's a little surprising. But
yeah,
I mean, when you have long snappers that can't do their job, and when there's about 20 missed kicks, combined, like that game was just an absolute mess.
Yeah. Absolutely. I had a hot take earlier in the year that I didn't think Joe Burrow was a top 5 or even a top 10 quarterback in the league. And he certainly didn't do anything to help that case this game. I absolutely think he can get there. I think he can. I think Joe Burrow has the potential to be a really, really great quarterback. He has proven he is a really, really great quarterback. But again, got a lot of things to work out. Week one, I'm not. And what you said about the Colts, I like your point about the Colts and the Steelers, equating them. I think the Steelers, this is going to be a tough one because honestly, if the Steelers and the Colts played, I'd probably pick the Steelers to win. I think the Steelers are just slightly better enough on both sides of the ball than the Colts, which is crazy to think about. But again, but if you're talking, Jonathan Taylor versus like Najee Harris, yeah, Jonathan Taylor's better. If you're talking Matt Ryan versus Mitch Trubisky, yes, Matt Ryan's better. But the all-around of Trubisky, Harris, Deontay Johnson, Freiermuth, Chase Claypool, those guys have all got enough there to beat that core of Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, Pittman, and the assortment of whoever the Colts want to use beyond that. Yeah, It's just an assortment because I can't name receivers on the Colts. Okay, the only other one I can name is Alec Pierce wasn't used. So say what you will about that. This was an awesome game to watch. Overtime was so much fun. So more of this, please, from the NFL. More of this, please. We love that. Beyond that, okay, highest scoring game of the week. Okay, this was a lot of fun. This was also a lot of fun. Hot take: the Eagles' offense is the best in the league. They proved that right here. 38 points. Yeah, okay, it's the Lions. Whatever. The Lions played well. The Lions did not play bad in this game, and I think you should be. I think again. We have an unreleased edition of the podcast that you, me, and Owen did, and Owen and I were both saying, "Watch out for the Lions." Right here, watch out for the Lions. In my opinion, this Eagles offense was just too much for the Lions. I get that. But if the Lions could put up 35 points, boy, you gotta watch them. Goff didn't play bad. DeAndre Swift looked insane. Amon-Ra St. Brown looked good. Chark looked good. A.J. Brown, though. A.J. Brown we knew A.J. Brown was good, but A.J. Brown looking like a top 5 receiver in the league out here. Okay. He didn't have a touchdown. That's okay. He didn't need one. Look at the rushing, though. 4 touchdowns from just the rushers here. Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, Gainwell, and Boston Scott all had a touchdown in this game. This offense has weapons everywhere. Everywhere. So do the Lions. The Lions don't have a bad offense either. Swift had a touchdown. Jamal Williams had 2. Amon St. Brown, Chark, Hawkinson, Swift used in receiving. Like, the Lions look better than the Packers did this week, which isn't hard to do. But the Lions look like the second best team in that division. Eagles, especially with the Cowboys, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Eagles have already basically won the NFC East. That's about guaranteed now. So Jalen Hurts looked good, and yet he didn't. 18 of 32, 243, not the best passing stats, but also 90 rushing yards. I'm not going to complain. Jalen Hurts, great fantasy quarterback, carries them. He looked better than he did last season overall, but, if Jalen Hurts plays to his peak, I would be terrified to go play the Eagles. I would want to forfeit because that offense is just scary good. What about you? What do you think?
Well, I was impressed. Both teams put up a good amount of points. Detroit looked really good, especially when you're talking about Detroit.
It's the Lions.
So they're going to be a team to watch. I do think that you're being a little bit too quick on your Philadelphia is the best offense in the league here. I think they have a lot of weapons. I think they could be really good, but it's week 1 and it's against the Lions. Yes, the Lions played good, but it's the Lions. I think they played really well. I'm not ashamed to say that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little too early to be saying that they're an amazing team. I think that you're right. I think that they're going to win their division. I think they're a good team. I think they're going to be one of the best offenses in the league. But when you have, teams like, even though the Rams didn't play very good, when you have teams like the Rams, when you got the Bills, when you got, the Chiefs, the Cardinals, you have a lot of teams that even if they didn't play their best in week 1, you still have a lot of other high-powered offenses.
Sure.
If you want to look at week 1 and say that they're the best, yeah, I could give that to you. But in terms of just overall, they have a good team, but I'm curious to see how the rest of the season goes with them.
Yeah, and I think, and a point I want to make also about the Eagles offense is that look at receiving over here. Devontae Smith didn't do anything, and he's probably their second best receiver on this team. And Zach Pascal, they acquired in the offseason as well, didn't do anything. Probably their third or fourth best receiver on it. So the Eagles have so many weapons on offense, it's scary. A.J. Brown and Goddard looked great. Again, yes, I'll agree with you. It's week 1, whatever. But you got to remember, the Eagles went to the playoffs last year. Nobody thought they were going to go that far last year. The Eagles made it to the playoffs last year. Sure, they kind of limped in. They weren't the best playoff team, but again, they were a playoff team, and they only got better, and their offense was pretty good last year. So that's just me. I think they are at least a top 5 offense in the league right now. I don't think you can dispute that. Probably not the best, but,
Yeah, I'll give you that.
We'll go beyond there. We'll go beyond there. And again, Lions looking like contenders in the North. I'm sorry, they just do. They start getting the kinks worked out and get their defense to start showing up a little bit, doing better. I don't know what to tell you. The Lions might contend. That's all I got to say.
And you're at. I think both of these teams are going to be teams to watch this season and in seasons to come for sure.
I cannot pick another team in the NFC East to win besides the Eagles. None of the other ones looked good. The second best looking team in the NFC East is the Washington Commanders, which we'll get to in a little bit, which is scary to think about in and of itself. It's the Commanders, okay? Whatever. We don't talk about them. All right. This one. All right. Here's what I want to say. Dolphins defense looked great. Offense looked mediocre. Patriots looked awful. Patriots just did not look good around the board. Patriots looked awful. Bill, I don't know what you're going to do with this team. You got to get it together. But this Dolphins offense did not look really good. They just didn't. Even though they had Tyreek Hill did not pass 100 yards. Didn't have a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, again, it's all going to come down to quarterback play for the Dolphins. I'm really starting to like their defense. It's looking really good. But again, Tua's got to do more. He's got to stay accurate on his throws. Not a lot to say here. Dolphins beat a bad team with a B tier offense on a good day. Patriots, 7 wins is your ceiling right now. Unless you get together, guys. I'm sorry, you got to do something. 7 wins. This is your ceiling. Patriots are not looking good.
Yep, I got nothing else to add to that.
Cool. Yeah. We'll come back to talking about a lot of these when I get to our game picks later because we had a lot of things going on with those. Ravens, Jets. I'm not going to hold off a lot on this game either. Not a lot to say here. Jets are without Zach Wilson, so they're without their starting quarterback. So there'll be a lot of questions there. I want to look at Lamar's talent for a minute, because if you listen to the announcers, they were all like, "Oh, Lamar Jackson looked so great, best quarterback in the league, whatever." Guys, he threw 2 touchdowns, didn't look that good. 17 of 30, 213 yards. Only 17 yards rushing for Lamar Jackson is low. Lamar's got to step up his game. Like, the Ravens beat a bad team this week, you know. Michael Carter looked all right for the Jets for what he did. Corey Davis looked fine. You know, that Jets team, I think once they get a solid quarterback, more solid than Flacco underneath, I think they could be looking really good. Again, Ravens defense stifled them enough because Flacco had 59 pass attempts.
Jeez.
You know, so Devin Duvernay. Shout out to Devin Duvernay.
Oh my
What a
goodness.
game. 2 touchdowns for him. Like, what a guy. He is that guy, pal, was this week. But yeah, the Ravens scored 24 points with no offense. The Ravens don't look great. I would definitely pick the Steelers over the Ravens right now with how things look. I would pick the Bengals over the Ravens right now. The Bengals still looked awful. So, yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Joe Flacco, 307 yards. Like, that's really good. I mean, he did have 59 attempts, you know, a touchdown, interception. So, I mean, you know, yardage wise, really good game. Everything else, not so good. I mean, Corey Davis, you know, played a pretty good game, 6 receptions, 77 yards. Not terrible. Elijah Moore did pretty good. Garrett Wilson did pretty good. There was something I saw. Can you scroll down to the defense? I think there was a guy. Let me see if it's on here. I thought it was this game. It was Sauce Gardner.
Oh, Sauce Gardner, my boy, right here.
He played great.
Oh, Sauce Gardner is that guy, pal.
He played a great game. I mean, that was actually one of the only main storylines I heard coming out of that game.
Yeah.
From what I've been seeing, was a lot about Sauce Gardner. I mean, he does not look like a rookie.
Oh no.
I mean, he came out ready to play, played really well. I mean, I think he's going to be a really good player as he continues to develop.
Yes. Absolutely.
But other than that, I mean, you know, good job, Ravens. You beat the Jets.
Cool.
The end.
Cool. You beat the Jets. Can you contend with anybody else in the league right now? Who knows? We'll see what happens. Jags Commanders. This was a great game. This was a great game. And okay, I'm gonna eat my words a little bit from last year. Okay, Wentz looked good. Wentz looked so good in this game. Carson Wentz looked like he fit well in that offense. He was in charge of that offense, had everything going on the field. He looked like the Wentz of old, like before any injuries when we saw the Eagles at this point. Carson Wentz looked phenomenal this game, and I have nothing bad to say about him. 27-41, 313 yards, 4 touchdowns, six rushes for 12 yards, distributed the ball really well. Jahan Dotson, I thought he was going to be phenomenal coming off being one of those rookies. I was off the board. Jahan Dotson looked awesome. Excited to see him play. Terry McLaurin looked good. 58 yards with a touchdown.
Did you say Jahan Dotson looked good?
Yeah, Jahan Dotson looked great out there. He had 2 touchdowns.
He had 1 carry. Jahan Dotson, he had 1 carry for negative 10 yards.
Go down to receiving, dude. Receiving. Jahan Dotson had 2 touchdowns.
That's really sorry. I was looking at the rushing.
Yeah,
rushing was terrible.
He's a receiver. I don't care what he did rushing. Jahan Dotson's a receiver, not a running back. Jahan Dotson looked great this game.
Yeah, receiving he looked good. I'll give you that. Yes.
Yeah, I don't care what he did rushing because, Carson Wentz didn't look good rushing, but that's not the argument we're making here about Carson Wentz looking great. Yeah, Jahan Dotson looked great. He's going to be a stud in Washington. I'm really excited to watch him. Antonio Gibson. A lot of people were saying, don't pick Antonio Gibson. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on with, running backs. He's going to be relegated. I'm on my fantasy team, and I'm going to keep him on my fantasy team. Antonio Gibson looked great. Over on the Jaguars side, Trevor Lawrence played a very Trevor Lawrence game. 24-42, touchdown, interception. Christian Kirk looked good. James Robinson looked good. Jaguars just fell a little bit short in this one. but kept with the Commanders, brought it back to a tie game at one point. But yeah, boy, the Commanders again. It's the Jaguars. Whatever. You're gonna look good against the Jaguars. But the Commanders looked like they could make some noise in the NFC East. And I'm looking forward to seeing them play. There are a lot of good players I really like on there.
Yep, I agree.
Anything else I want to touch on for this game? I don't think so. Yeah, and then Commanders, once they inevitably get Chase Young back later in the year, will look even better. So that should be exciting for them. It's unfortunate that he had a setback, but again, I wouldn't be worried if you're a Commanders fan. Your ceiling, I think, is still looking around like 9 wins, and it's only going up. Let me see how you look this week. Browns Panthers. This was another. There were a lot of good games, and Browns Panthers was no exception to that. If it'll ever load. Browns kept it ahead. Panthers made a little bit of a storm back, but they just weren't enough to get past. Brissett didn't look too bad. Not the best game for him, but we'll see what happens. First game, he's not the starter. He'll get into it a little bit. Shout out Kareem Hunt, looked great. 2 touchdowns for Kareem Hunt, 1 receiving, 1 rushing. Nick Chubb looked like Nick Chubb. Yeah, really good game for them. Baker didn't look trash, so that should be a plus for Panthers fans. McCaffrey, he's not injured. That's the only good thing I can say about McCaffrey. He's not injured yet. He's not out for the year yet. So you can breathe, Panthers fans and fantasy owners that have him. You can breathe. But beyond that, did not do too much. The veteran Robbie Anderson, 102 receiving yards on 5 receptions and a touchdown. Like, that's awesome. Good for him. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. What do you got?
Not much. I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones looked pretty good. Obviously, you already talked about Kareem Hunt. He looked pretty good. DJ Moore looked all right. I mean, 3 receptions. We had 43 yards out of it. Like, I mean, that's, you'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Christian McCaffrey did not look super impressive. But Baker Mayfield played pretty well. I mean, 235 yards on 16 completions. I mean, I don't think that Carolina Panthers fans have really anything to worry about right now. I think that they played a pretty good game, only, fell short by 2 points. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if Christian McCaffrey can step up a little bit and, if the rest of the team can keep contributing. I think both these teams have a good shot of getting a lot of wins. So it'll be interesting. These are 2 teams I think to watch just to see how they improve. Even if they don't make the playoffs, I think they're at least one of these teams will be close, I think. But we'll see what happens.
The big story for me will be seeing where the Browns are sitting come week 11 when they get Deshaun Watson back. If they're still in contention, it's all going to be all about keeping themselves in the loop for when Deshaun Watson comes back. Panthers, I think, are still looking at best 3rd in your division because your division's pretty good. You still have the Saints and the Bucs in there. Shout out to the only drafted kicker in the draft this year, Cade York for the Browns. Looked the part. Okay. Cade York is young. He looks great. He's going to be a stud in the league. The one kicker that missing field goals, the virus did not get to this week. No other kicker looked good except Cade York. So shout out to him for the Browns. There you go, Browns fans. There's your light, your kicker. All right, have fun with that one, my friends. Giants and the Titans. Maybe if it won't reload. Giants and the Titans. Okay. What are we doing, Titans? What are we doing? Okay. Another game where the Titans just kind of gave up. They did not look good in this game. A lot of people were going to be scared about how Derrick Henry looked at this game. I'm also not concerned it's Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor Henry, Taylor, and McCaffrey all didn't look great this week. It's week 1, guys. Let's not freak out about it yet. All right. On the Giants side, Saquon is back and better than ever. 18 carries, 164 yards, and a touchdown. My goodness, he looked good. Saquon, if he can stay healthy, will be a menace this year. Danny Dimes. Daniel Jones didn't look too bad. 17 to 21, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Not a bad game at all for him. I think put the ball in Saquon's hands. You'll be fine. You don't have any weapons to rely on. Really, in your receiving core, you've got Sterling Shepard and Kenny Golladay. Even then, Kenny Golladay has not looked great, so I'm not really advocating for using him a whole lot. Titans. You went out this year and got Robert Woods from the Rams and paid him a crap ton of money, and you only passed it to him once? What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? Titans, you were the one team at this point when it came to this time of the game. All three other AFC South teams were done playing when you guys came on. You still couldn't get it done? You had a free opportunity to lead the division, basically, and you guys couldn't even take it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about this one. Props to you, Giants.
I don't know either. Derrick Henry, yes, it's his first game. Don't need to freak out, but 82 yards is decent, but man, on 21 carries, he just looked poor. I'm going to be honest. I don't think that Derrick Henry looked that good. Ryan Tannehill looked pretty good. I thought this was a deadlock for the Titans. I don't think the Giants are that good of a team.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the Titans were doing. At home, first game, maybe some jitters got to him or something, but man, it's not a good start for the Titans. Yes, it's early. It's only week 1. Got a lot of football left to play. But, don't be concerned if you're a Tennessee Titans fan.
No, yeah.
But at the same time,
yeah,
I think there's a little bit of worry, not a lot, but a little bit, just because this was not a good game for them to start off on. But
yeah,
we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Yeah, and the scary part is, the best looking team in the AFC South to come out of this week was the Jacksonville Jaguars. And because everybody else scored 20 points, Jags scored 22, and sure, you can look at scoring points, whatever, but the Jags didn't look bad against the Commanders. The Colts offense looked bad. The Texans offense wasn't any better, and the Titans were just not great. So I don't know who's going to come out of that division right now. They got to get their act together. Please don't come out of week 2. I think the Colts and the Jaguars play week 2, so I'm hoping we don't have another tie. We should have somebody come away with a win there, but I don't know who it is going to be at that point. Moving forward here, I feel vindicated. Okay, like we all said. Now, Vikings look good. Again, Packers did this last year, okay? They got completely shellacked by the Saints to start out last year, 42-0 or something. It was crazy. And everybody thought, are the Packers going to die off or whatever? Are they terrible? No. Packers will be fine. They'll rebound. But the only thing that concerns me about the Packers is my boy, Christian Watson. Dude, you had an easy touchdown that you just the ball literally grazed your hands and you were just I dropped it. This is the back-to-back MVP here, okay? There's only so much he can do. You guys got to pull something together. Aside from that, your best receiver in the league, undisputed right now, is Justin Jefferson. He proved it today. 9 receptions, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. If you don't think he's the best receiver in the league, you got to open your eyes, pal.
Yep.
Devontae Adams is second. Cooper Kupp is third. Okay. Justin Jefferson was an absolute beast out there. That is a Randy Moss stat line. It just is. He looked the best receiver in the league. Everybody thought he was going to be the best in the league, and he proved it. Kirk Cousins still looking like a top 10 quarterback in the league, like we all thought. I thought he was, at least. Aaron Rodgers, Packers didn't look good. Aaron Rodgers didn't look good. I'm not concerned. It's Packers. It's the Packers. They're going to get at least 10 wins no matter what. But Vikings are definitely your favorite to win the NFC North at this point. Packers and Lions, you can put in second place in a tie, and then Bears fourth. Sure, the Bears, you got the win, whatever. Bears are fourth, guys. They're not doing well. Anything from you?
Nope, I agree with everything you said, man.
Cool. It gets easy when I just say a bunch of things and you agree with me. But then it also becomes what are you going to say,
You sum it up well, so.
Okay. Here is the second team in the AFC Championship game with the Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. We all wondered how the Chiefs offense was going to look after Tyreek Hill left. And you see it right here. Mahomes picking up right where he left off. Stupid numbers from Patrick Mahomes. 30 of 39, 360 yards, 5 touchdown passes. 5 touchdown passes. Clyde Edwards-Helaire looked good. 7 carries, 42 yards, but also had 2 receiving touchdowns. Hilaire looked good. Travis Kelce, it looked like Travis Kelce, the best tight end in the league. Juju's sliding right in to that offense, looking good. As for the Cardinals, Cardinals didn't look bad. Their defense, they just don't have a defense to keep up with the Chiefs. Their defense might even be okay. It ain't the level to keep up with the Chiefs. Chiefs are going to Chiefs. They're going to do their thing. If they're not, Chiefs are going to win that division fairly easily if they keep looking like this. And we get to see that Bills-Chiefs rematch, and I am excited for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mahomes came out on fire. I mean, he was hitting everything. I mean, only had 9 incompletions. Unbelievable. I mean, almost perfect game, 360 yards, 5 touchdowns, amazing stats. Rushing, Kansas City looked pretty good. Receiving, we knew Kelce was going to be big again. He showed it why he's the best tight end in the league.
Yep.
Juju Smith-Schuster, there's a lot of questions about him. I questioned him coming into Kansas City, and 6 receptions for 79 yards. I think if you're a Chiefs fan, you'll take that.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll take that any day. He did it really well. And on the Cardinals side, they didn't look awful.
No. They
didn't look awful. There's things obviously to improve, but overall, I think they played a pretty good game as well.
Yeah.
So, it's just hard going up against a powerhouse like Kansas City in your first game. So I think the only direction for them to go is up, and same with the Chiefs. So
absolutely. I think the Cardinals, I will say their offense, I think is hurt by both having D-Hop suspended for the first 6 games and having Rondale Moore out with injury. I think a lot of people thought Rondale Moore was going to be a big producer early on. So I'm hoping, I'm a big fan of Rondale, watch him in college. He was great at Purdue. I love seeing him in the NFL. I love seeing him do well. So I'm hoping he's back soon for them. So Kyler has something to work with aside from Greg Dortch.
Yep.
So shout out to Greg Dortch, though, had a good week. So your top receiver for the Cardinals. 2 games left to talk about, and I cannot wait to talk about both of these games. Okay, first of all is right with the world. The Cowboys lost and looked like trash. All is right with the world. I'll tone it down a little bit because it is unfortunate to see Dak go down with an injury. He will be out 6 to 8 weeks. But the good thing is the Cowboys season's over, baby. Have fun missing the playoffs. You guys are done.
Yeah.
You got shellacked by a 45-year-old Tom Brady that didn't look good either. All right.
Yeah.
Fournette looked great. Cowboys, I love seeing you guys lose. It's a favorite pastime.
Yep. I thought the Cowboys were only because the way that I had said this, if you look back at the first video we made about this, the video we made is I said there's going to be one of 2 outcomes.
Okay.
I said either the offseason stuff is going to affect Tom Brady, he's not going to look very good, and the Cowboys are going to show up like they did last year, and they're going to take advantage and they're going to win. Or Tom Brady is going to be like, get off me, peasants, I'm the GOAT, and he's going to win. And you know what? I went with the first option. I was, trying to see if there was an upset in there. I was wrong. It is what it is. And I'm still happy, though, that the Cowboys lost. I'm very happy about that.
And hearkening back to our video for week 1, our podcast for week 1, I even said my final prediction was all Tom Brady has to do is play average for the Bucs to win this game. That is exactly what he did. Tom Brady played average, and the Bucs shellacked the Cowboys. That Bucs defense is going to be scary good. Oh my gosh, there's so many levels on that.
It's going to be good.
But looking forward to the Cowboys going 0-8 while Dak's gone. And hey, goodbye. Cowboys fans, enjoy your season. Enjoy the memes. Enjoy from the NFL memes page, the classic. Just check and see if y'all still them boys.
It is not your year. We know you guys were saying it in the preseason again, as you always do. It is not your year.
It is not your year. Peace out, Cowboys fans. Enjoy the off season. Last game. Okay.
Our final game.
Now, I said, in the podcast, the unreleased podcast, you me and owned it. I said the Broncos are going to miss the playoffs this year. I stand by that, and this game proves it. I also stand by the fact that anybody who said Russell Wilson should get MVP is absolutely insane. You guys are insane, okay? Geno Smith should get MVP over Russell Wilson, okay? Now, it's one game, whatever. I did not expect Geno Smith to play that good. I knew Geno Smith was a good quarterback. I knew he was better than Drew Lock. I was hoping they'd start him. But boy, he started that game and he proved why he should be the starter. 23 of 28, 2 touchdowns. Russell Wilson committing $245 million robbery on the Denver Broncos in this one. Broncos, what are we doing? Seahawks. The Seahawks are leading their division right now. The Seahawks are the only one in that division with a win right now. So props to you, Seahawks. You didn't look like trash like we all thought you would. But yeah, boy, not the best game to watch. You know, neither offense did anything. The fact that, okay, the Broncos and Russell Wilson and the red zone do not match. Russell Wilson might be the worst red zone quarterback in the history of the NFL. The Broncos had 4 different drives where they were on like the 5-yard line or closer to their end zone, came away with 3 points total.
Yep.
On all of those drives. How? Russell, were you that badly traumatized from that Super Bowl against the Patriots that you just can't do anything in the red zone now? Hand the ball off to Melvin Gordon. Or just hand it to, I don't care.
Give it to Javonte Williams.
Give it to your kicker. I don't care. Just do something. You came away with 3. You could have at least come away with 12 points, 4 field goals. You came away with 3 points. How? What are we doing? Guys, this Broncos team cannot win the division, and they will get 4th in their division like I said they would. I'm calling it right now, and I'm standing by that prediction.
Yeah, it's hard because on the one hand, I see that Russell Wilson was 29 of 42, had 340 yards and a touchdown. I mean, if you didn't show me any score, but you showed me those stats, I would say, holy cow, Russell Wilson played an amazing game. The Broncos had to have won this game.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, they both played pretty well. Jerry Jeudy, four receptions for 102 yards. Courtland Sutton, 4 for 72. I mean, I think they both look really good.
Yeah.
It's the part that concerns me, though, is that when you look at those stats, Denver, in my opinion, played so much better than the score reflects. Now, there is a caveat to that.
Okay. I love to hear.
And that is because I'm looking at just these stats here.
Yeah.
When you bring in the stats that you shared about in the red zone,
yeah,
that's when you're like, oh.
That's why this team sucks.
Because when you're looking at just these stats, I would not be worried if I was a Denver Broncos fan. I would be like, we played a great game. I would say there's no reason to worry. But then you bring in the stats about they only got 3 points or whatever it was from being in the red zone.
Yes.
And you're like, help.
Yes.
That's the part that should scare you as a Denver
Yes.
Broncos fan. And as someone who thought that Russell Wilson was going to win the MVP. If you go by these stats, I'll put him on a list, not super high, but I'll put him on a list as a candidate. But when you add in the fact that dude is fumbling left and right, and when the red zone was just awful, I mean, that bumps him from, maybe like here to here. Like he goes way down just because of that. So I'd say Denver didn't play necessarily an awful game overall, but there's a lot of things to fix. I don't know if they're going to be last in the division, but they're definitely making a case for it. That is for sure.
I'm going to say something that you might disagree with, but take a second to think about it. Russell Wilson might be one of the most overhyped quarterbacks of all time. Reason I say that is, yes, the Seahawks had their Super Bowl run where they had 2 in a row. First time to beat the Broncos, smashed Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Second year they lose to the Patriots. And every year, a couple of things I want to bring up. 1, Russell Wilson has never received an MVP vote in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Russell Wilson is a great first 6 games of the season quarterback. Russell Wilson plays great the first half of the season. Everybody's like, oh, Russell Wilson's doing great. He's going to be awesome. And then just kind of, plays like your Geno Smith, your Baker Mayfield, kind of right there in the middle average kind of guys. You know what I mean? Russell Wilson is very overhyped. I think $245 million is insane for him. I don't know what the Broncos were thinking. I mean, yeah, that's their best. That was the best option on the field. Best option on the docket for quarterback. So I'm not upset that they took him. But, we've said all night that don't worry, fans. Your teams are fine. It's the first week, whatever. The Broncos fans are the only ones that should be even slightly worried. And again, it is that red zone stat. If you guys don't do well in the red zone, you are not going to win games. You are not going to win games. Broncos fans, you should be a little bit concerned about this. That's about all I got on this game. Last game of the week. It's been a crazy week. You got anything else?
No, that's all I had right now.
Cool. A couple points I want to bring up a little bit before we move on to recapping our picks from last week, seeing how we did, and moving into picks for next week. I want to talk about how the NFC is up for grabs here. Okay. The NFC could come down to any number of teams. You got, I think, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Packers, the Saints, the Bucks, the Rams, and the 49ers are all in contention for that title. The Rams, we've seen that the Rams have weaknesses. The 49ers have weaknesses. The Packers have weaknesses. There's your top three teams right there that all got knocked down a peg. The only teams that really looked like they were going to keep doing their thing were really the Bucks and the Eagles. The Eagles looked good. The Bucks looked good. Vikings, I think your top three teams from the NFC, at least if I had to make a prediction right now, would probably be Bucks, Vikings, and Eagles, not necessarily in that order, but that's your top three right now. The AFC is going to be the Chiefs, the Bills, and everybody else in between. You got your 1 and 2, and that's it. You can talk about how the AFC is very stacked and very good. But the Bills are on another pedestal. The Chiefs are on the pedestal right below them. Then everybody else is on the pedestal below those two. So your Super Bowl is going to be in your AFC Championship like we all expected and like it was last year. And NFC, anybody can take this. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that or not.
Nope. I don't have anything else. Keep watching the Eagles. Keep watching for the Vikings. Lions, they're going to be scary. I'd say, if not this year, within a couple of years, Lions are going to be that team that's going to be
100%
up there competing in a much bigger way. They've already competed so far against a really good team in the Eagles, but just continue to look for them in the future. But that's about all I got.
Yes, absolutely. Teams need to work on controlling the ball. There were way too many turnovers this week. 49. Going back to that, Bills, Rams had 7 combined turnovers. Steelers, Bengals had 5. Well, okay. The Bengals had 5 in that game. The Raiders and Chargers had 5. Jags and the Commanders had 4. Probably, I think at least 8 of the games had 3 turnovers. Like the 2 games there were 3 games that only had 1 turnover. It was Browns, Panthers, Eagles, Lions, and Chiefs, Cardinals. Those are the only games where it was 1 turnover. That's it. So we got to control those. After that, we should be fine. Week 1. Teams will get it together. We'll be good. But yeah, 49 turnovers. I'd love to know if that's a record or not, or at least how close that is to being the record. That'd be interesting stat to look up. Let's talk about game picks from last week. All right, so here's what we got. Now, what we have here is we got myself and Austin's picks. Now, all I did on this chart is we've got my picks on the left, Austin's picks on the right. These are the games, the 5 games that we picked the same on and won. And then the games in the middle are the ones that we won but picked differently or maybe lost. So, I was 7-7-1, Austin was 6-8-1. Now, why do these stats make sense? Here's why. So, we both won Saints Falcons. We both got Chiefs Lions, Cardinals, Chiefs, Ravens Jets, and Vikings Packers. We all got those 5 right. We picked the winners correctly. So that got us each 5 wins. Next up, Patriots and Dolphins. I picked the Dolphins correctly. Austin got that one wrong in the Patriots. And then Bucks, Cowboys. I picked correctly. Austin did not. And then Raiders, Chargers. He picked right. I did not. I picked the Raiders. He picked the Chargers. And then we both picked the Colts to win. And I'm going to say they didn't lose, so we can't count that as a loss. So there's our tie. Yep. I think that's totally fine with that. So yeah, I take the edge here. Start off with a 1-game lead in game pick. So that's really cool for me. I am going to beat you, by the way. So just so you know, going in, I'm just telling you that right now. You better watch out for me.
Okay.
I was kind of surprised at how many I lost, but also not really because it's the NFL. It's week 1. I'm not surprised I lost a bunch of games either because nobody predicted any of the other results really.
Yeah.
I don't think people predicted what do we got? I don't think people predicted, the Browns to win. We didn't predict the Browns to win. I don't think people predicted the Bears to win or the Commanders necessarily to win or the Giants to win for that one. I don't think anybody predicted any of those teams to win. So that's going to be interesting to look at going forward to see where they're at. Moving on there. Oh, there you go. Your camera cut out for a second. That's why I stopped talking. But yeah, there's your week 1 game picks. I'll give you guys one more look at that. I got the lead going into week 2. And I'm saying we hop into some game picks, then maybe hop out of here. What do you say?
I say let's do it. Let's get these game picks in.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading head first into week 2 of the NFL season. And we are kicking off, baby, Thursday night football. Chargers and the Chiefs. Oh, boy. All right. Now, this is going to be a very, very fun game to play, or to watch at least. I'm going to adjust this just a little bit here. That way I can write down our picks and write them down and look at the games while we're doing this. So, Chargers, Chiefs. Austin, you want to start us off? What are you thinking?
I think it's going to be a Chiefs W. It's at Arrowhead. It's a loud place. Night game. Crowd's going to be electric. Chiefs, both teams are looking good, but the Chiefs came out and looked really, really good. I'm giving the edge to the Chiefs at home.
Awesome. I like it. Let's see. So, yeah, I got to go Chiefs on this one too. I'm going to agree with you. I think, this one being at home for the Chiefs, and they're coming off of a massive win and looking really good against the Cardinals. I'm going to stick with you. I think the Chiefs take this one. I think they continue to do what they're doing. But this is going to be a really, really fun game to watch. Thursday nights, they are really stacking Thursday nights, getting people hyped about watching it with Amazon Prime Video, or wanting to at least. So they're getting, Bills, Rams, Chargers, Chiefs. Like, there's some hot games on Thursday nights that are going to be a lot of fun to watch. All right. Colts, Jags. Now, oh boy. Okay. Last time these two teams played, it was in Jacksonville, and the Jaguars won. And with how the Colts looked, the Colts are going to be wanting revenge because they came from all the way behind and couldn't quite finish the job. But the Jaguars are also going to be thinking, we looked good against the Commanders and almost won that game. So this one is a big toss-up for me. But, to win at game picks, you got to go bold and you got to make some sleeper picks. So I'm going to stick with the Jags, man. I love the Colts. They're my team, but, they got to prove to me. This is a game I'd love to get wrong, but I got to pick the Jags, man. I can't in good conscience pick the Colts right now.
Yeah, and honestly, man, I agree with you. I mean, right now they say the Colts are favored, and it kills me. And I want to pick the Colts so bad, but they just didn't prove it to me.
Yeah.
In the first game, if they step up and if they play well and if they actually go for their revenge game, I think they can win. But
100%.
With the way the Jaguars played week 1 compared to the Colts, I got to give it to Jacksonville, especially with it being at home.
Yeah,
I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going with Jacksonville.
Exactly. Hope I'm wrong too. Let's go. Falcons, Rams. I'm not going to take a lot of time on this one. Rams, rebound, get the dub.
Yep, same.
Jets, Browns. Can I pencil us both in for the Browns? Because we all know the Browns are going to beat the Jets.
Yep.
Sweet. All right. Keeping it rolling. This is the fire round. Commanders, Lions. I'm going to touch quickly on this one. Commanders coming off of a big win. Lions come off a tough loss. Lions are back at home this week. I'm picking Lions upset here.
Oh, dude, I wish I'd gone first because I was going to say the same exact thing.
Dang.
I think a lot of people are going to pick the Commanders just because they, appear to have a better team, at least on paper in a lot of ways. But the Lions, they played a really good Eagles team and almost won. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people.
Absolutely. Giants, Panthers. Another toss up here for me. I gotta go Giants. I'm gonna pick the Giants to stay on a roll. I think Saquon keeps doing his thing and is just a little bit too much for the Panthers. I gotta go Giants.
Man, I got to start going before you because it's going to look like I'm stealing all your answers because I got to agree with Giants too, man. I mean, Saquon looked really good. And yeah, I mean, that's all I can say.
All right. Patriots Steelers. I was going to ask you to go first, but I think we're both picking the Steelers here. So I'm not even going to ask you. We're just going to kind of keep things rolling here. Dolphins Ravens. Go ahead and make something that's interesting.
Oh, man. I mean, it is in Baltimore. And I mean, the Ravens looked pretty good. Honestly, though, I'm going to pick the Dolphins.
Okay.
I think they have a solid team. I think Tyreek's going to show up again. I think Tua's going to do good. I think the Dolphins are going to do it.
I'm going to copy you this time. Yeah, I got to take the Dolphins too here. Everybody says Lamar Jackson looked good. Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns. I got to see a little bit more from the Ravens offense before I really start investing highly in them. But moving on from that, Seahawks 49ers. I'm going to take first on this one again. I think 49ers rebound here. And Seahawks have a little bit of a letdown in this one. So I'm going 49ers.
Yeah, I got to agree. I mean, the Seahawks look pretty good in their week 1 game, but I don't think the Seahawks are going to have what it takes.
Next up, Bengals Cowboys. Okay, and while I just go ahead and write the Bengals in here because the Cowboys skip over suck, that one. We can move on to Texans Broncos, where I'm picking the Broncos because the Broncos got to get the rebound and win. First game at home. Texans are fine, but they're not good enough to beat the Broncos.
Yep, Broncos country, let's ride.
Broncos they better do something. They better ride something before we even get things moving here. Cardinals Raiders. I like this one. This ought to be an interesting game. I'm going to try and read your mind again. I think we're both picking Raiders to win this one. Rebound game for them against the Cardinals. Cardinals, again, without some of their best offensive weapons, are really going to struggle for a bit, and Raiders are just going to be too much, especially at home for them.
Yep, I agree.
Bears Packers. Bears time, baby. The Bears are no, of course not. Aaron Rodgers is fine. His receivers are fine. They're all fine. Packers are fine. Packers win at home.
Yep.
Pretty handily over the Bears.
Yep.
And then we are going to completely match on all of our picks for the week because maybe not. Maybe not. I didn't see the second game. Titans Bills first of all. I assume I can pencil you in for the Bills here.
Yes, I'm gonna say you better pencil me in for the Bills.
Cool. So we're gonna do that, and okay.
Now this right here, this final game, this is the game that I think we might disagree on. Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
So here's what I'm gonna say. This is gonna be the best game of the week, I think, by far, and I think this one's so tough. So I have an idea of who I'm going to pick. I'm going to let you take this one, and then I'll pick and send us home.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth about this because both teams looked good week 1. I was thinking of taking the Eagles. I mean, they're at home, but I think that the Vikings just have a better team overall. So I'm going with the Vikings to come into the Eagles' home stadium and steal one.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. So here's my thing, okay? I am actually, surprisingly, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think the Vikings actually have enough to take this one. I am really, really high on the Vikings this year. I love what they're doing. Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson is one of those quarterback to receiver connections you can just count on all the time. You got your Staffords and your Cubs. You got your Josh Allen, your Diggs, whatever. This is another receiver connection you can count on. I think this will be a very close game. I don't see the Vikings winning by more than a touchdown. I'm predicting maybe like a 1 to 3 point victory for this one. This is going to be really, really close.
Yeah.
I love to see how Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown do in this one. I think if the Eagles win this one, they are really making a statement about how we are a team to beat this year. Both of these teams, whichever one of these teams win, is setting themselves up really well for the rest of the season, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
So yeah, overall, I think this is a return to the status quo of the NFL. I think all the good teams that lost last week get their rebound. Aside from the Colts, I don't know about them. But yeah, Chiefs are fine. Rams get their rebound. Bengals get their rebound. Steelers get their rebound. We're good. Broncos get the rebound. And everybody breathe a sigh of relief. And we can come on the podcast next week and just have fun talking about the NFL, because it's not going to be a bunch of bullcrap like it was last week.
Yep.
But yeah, good talking with you, sir. We are excited for the season. We're excited. Week 1, great way to start off the year. Tune in this Thursday for Chargers and Chiefs, like I will be watching the game with everybody else live. So I'm excited for that. Any last words from you before we get out of here?
No, just, as always, like, subscribe, keep checking out the content. It means a lot. And remember, on Thursday, we'll also be filming and getting ready to drop our next college football episode for the pod.
And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. And you cut out again. So I'm going to give it a couple seconds for him to rebound and get back in here. Otherwise, I'm going to send us home. Are you there? Hello.
It's saying you have really bad connection. You keep cutting out on me. It's happened about 5 times during this whole thing. So
gotcha. Well, we're good now. You're back now. You were mentioning the college football podcast.
Keep looking at Thursday. Keep looking at the college football podcast. Keep supporting it. It's going to be really good to keep going throughout the rest of the year.
Yes, absolutely. And boy, we got some stuff to talk about come college. Like, boy, it was another crazy week 2 in college football. Stay tuned for that on Thursday. I'll do this while you're here real quick. Fantasy wrestling match of the week returns this week. Thursday, I believe that's coming back out for the second week of the AJ Styles month. So Austin has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about because it's wrestling. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. That's totally okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to bounce out of here. See you guys next week. Have a great night. Peace out.
Take care and peace.